During a plea hearing last week for somebody accused and arrested of participating in the Capitol riots, the judge in the case pondered openly and basically even asked the prosecution, are we letting these people off too easy? So here's what happened. You had a defendant by the name of Jack Jesse Griffith. Was charged with being in there, parading in the Capitol, did not cause any property damage, didn't do any violence, just was there in the building, where they're not allowed to be. And so the prosecutors dropped the charge, from a felony down to a misdemeanor. And the judge openly said, here it is. I'll read the statement from the judge. I'm just curious. Does the government have any concern, given the factual predicate at issue here, of the defendant joining a mob, breaking into the Capitol building through a broken door, wandering through the Capitol building, and stopping a constitutionally mandated duty of the Congress and terrorizing members of Congress, the vice president, who had to be evacuated? Does the government, in agreeing to the petty offense in this case, have any concern about deterrence? Basically, the lesser charges that this individual, that they're trying to work out in this plea deal are, as the judge explained at another point, what you would typically slap somebody with if they were in a national park after closing time. Misdemeanor trespassing on a, national monument, essentially. It could have a 6-month jail time, but usually it's just, probation, those types of things. But the judge's statement there that I just read, I think is very powerful. And I think it does make a good point here. If we want to ensure that something like this does not happen in the future, which the Department of Homeland Security is terrified that it could happen in the future. In fact, now that we're into the month of August, they're actually worried that it might happen in 12 days on August 13th, or 11 days, I guess. Wow. But they're thinking it may happen on August 13th when, as the Q folk have predicted, Donald Trump is set to be reinstated as president. That's also the day that Mike Lindell's Cyber Symposium concludes, and he has predicted Biden and Harris may resign that day. Homeland Security is terrified as to what could happen when none of that actually happens. So they're worried this could happen. The judges, not just this judge, other judges that we've talked about have expressed concern that these people haven't learned a lesson. So at what point do we go harsher with the sentencing? Do we need to? This individual was, caught up in the moment with the mob, entered through a broken window, as they said. So, that seems pretty intense. But at the same time, they didn't, they weren't involved in violence. They didn't steal anything. They didn't break anything themselves. Do we shove them away in prison for 5 years? I think that's a real ethical question that we need to ask ourselves. And trust me, I have no sympathy for any of these individuals involved in the Capitol riot. Not an ounce of it. They did this to themselves. But we, as progressives, as liberals, as Democrats, whatever we are, have always talked about the very harsh and unfair sentences coming down the judicial pipeline. So how do we reconcile that? How do we say that, oh, no, we have an over-sentencing problem here in the United States, and then turn around and say, nope, give all these Capitol rioters 15, 10, 5 years in jail, whatever it is. You can't do that. You can't have it both ways. I agree with the judge that some of these plea deals that are finally starting to happen should not be happening and people should not get off lightly. But if what this particular case, this one individual case is saying is true, and this individual was not involved, in actual damage and actual violence, in threats, if they don't have any social media history of saying, the storm is coming or any kind of crazy thing like that, or threatening violence in their social media, then I don't think they're being let off too easy. Maybe I'm too much of a bleeding heart. Maybe I do have some sympathy for some of these individuals. But let's not start backing the police state just because we don't like the people being prosecuted. That's the big takeaway here. That's the message that we need to convey. We don't like them. We hate what they did. These are dangerous people, some of them. Others really were caught up in the moment. Those people need help. but sticking them in jail for 5 years isn't going to give them the help that they need.